What's up, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Cross My Path podcast. Today is a very special day because why? It's the first day of the podcast, and we have a very special guest, my buddy, my homie, Mr. Jimmy Jam. So,
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
He flew in all the way from Whittier, California, just to do this with us, and we're excited to have him. So how you doing, bro?
I'm all right. I'm
Hell yeah.
really full. I just ate a bunch of food, so I'm
Yes.
probably going to be covering my teeth because you're probably going to see it in there.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm actually right behind this thing too. But the good thing is we're sitting on toilets. Nobody can tell.
Yeah.
And we can just do our thing when we're ready.
Yeah, and this thing flushes really quiet.
Yeah. The bidet hurts a little. It's a little high, but
Yeah.
it's still going to work.
Hi,
So how's everything going, bro? How's life treating you these days? Everything good? Keeping
It's
busy?
all right. Yeah, staying
Yeah.
busy, getting through the holidays and, everything that comes with that,
Yep. Awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, you know what? Tell us a little bit about yourself, bro. Tell us, where you grew up. If you want to say your age, you can. You can lie. I lie all the time. I've been 25 for like 40 years. But yeah. Let the people know a little bit about Jimmy Jam here.
Let's go with 16. That was a good year for me, so
Awesome.
I'd like to say that was my peak, so I'm just going to stay there.
You know what? Awesome.
But if you had to put a number on it, I'd be a few days away from turning 35.
Awesome. Yes, a few days. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is a few days, actually. Cool, man.
Grew up in Whittier pretty much my whole life.
Yeah.
I didn't move out of Whittier until recently, I don't know, maybe the last 6-7 years, but literally to the next city over.
Cool.
Nothing crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. So all schools in Whittier too?
All schools in Whittier.
Yeah.
I actually, I didn't do high school like everybody else did. At the time, I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was in the 7th grade. So in the beginning or the middle of 8th grade, I had to go to an independent study program. And then I tried to go to high school. I did a few months of freshman year.
Okay.
And it was getting bad. I was literally in the hospital 1 to 2 times a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Shoot, I never knew that about you, buddy.
Yeah.
I've known you for a long time.
Yeah. And so it was pretty bad. And all my classes were on the opposite ends of the school. So I was kind of overexerting myself. And then I was put on an independent study program through the district. And then in the beginning of sophomore year, I was getting all the work done, doing it fast. And my teacher was like, there's this test you can take, it's not the GED. We think you have what it takes to take it and pass. And if you pass this test, then you get your diploma basically.
Lucky.
So I didn't really do high school. Like I said,
Whoa.
Beginning of sophomore year, I had my diploma.
Nice. That's great, man. Cool. Man, I wish I could have skipped the 8 years I went to high school because it was a long time.
I'd do that shit again.
Yeah, I do that shit again. I mean, I was very fortunate to go to a lot of high schools and meet a lot of people, but I didn't fucking graduate.
And I'm still fortunate because I still go to high school.
Yeah, I'm still in high school, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, I got the graduation coming up in 2 years. So,
if all goes well.
Yeah, if all goes well. That one test, the multiplication one with the 100 questions.
Equations?
Yeah, equations. I'm still taking 40 minutes for that
Dude,
one.
that one's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Like our dogs say, that's rough. So, the music. Let's get into the music, man. I know you've done a lot. You started really early. I mean, I met you when you were 16, right, bro?
No.
Or was it 15?
When we met, I've probably about 14.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
14. I'll never forget. I don't know. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was at the All-American Grill, I believe.
Yeah, that was the first one we played.
La Habra, right?
It was False Idols.
Yes.
I remember there was a Misfits cover band that was just for the night. And then
Cool. Yes.
my band Henchmen.
Yep. The good old Henchman.
And was it Lobo Negro? Resurrects before?
Yes. I think it was. No.
One of those, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I remember.
Yeah, totally. Because that's actually, yes, I think I recall meeting James for the first time too.
Yeah.
Drummer James.
Yeah.
Too.
I had just met
What a
him
trip.
probably a week or two before that.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. You started young. That's freaking great,
Yeah.
man. So tell us a little bit about your background with music, man. As far as I mean, I know it started at 14 with the Henchman, and then
Yeah.
from there you freaking went all out after
Yeah.
that for the years to come.
I would say seriously, I was doing music at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Or I started trying to take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, I started playing in bands like with my best friend that I grew up with. Like we started making bands when I was in like 4th grade, 5th grade or
Wow.
something like that. And it was just
Rad.
like, cute
Yep.
little poppy punk
Yep.
stuff that,
Mhm.
we were just kind of figuring out how to play music and stuff as a band.
That's dope.
But
dope.
when I said about like 13 or 14,
Mhm.
me and Eric was dating my sister at the time, Eric from Henchman.
Okay.
And we would, he would play music. He would come over, like he would even play music with my dad. He would just come over with his guitar, and then I would play with him and stuff. And then, my other sister, she introduced us to a lot of the stuff she was picking up from her friends, and it was like rockabilly music, like the Reverend and shit like that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that was when that whole wave of swing music came.
Uh-huh.
With Ryan Sets Orchestra, dude. I remember when that
that album, man,
Jump Jive and Wail,
yes,
dude. I was
sir.
like obsessed with that song when I was like in the
Me
4th
too.
grade, and I felt like an alien because
So
nobody
good.
knew what the fuck I was talking about.
Yeah, it was so good. I love that album till this day too.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that, kind of introduced me to like the whole like Billy stuff.
Mhm.
And then Eric got into it as well. He got into like the Meteors and Demented Argo and stuff, and that's how I picked up on that. And then we talked about like playing music. We would just fuck around in the house. Part of my French.
Oh no. In this show, I just want to make it clear. If you're easily offended, go ahead and click right out or change the channel right now, because it's all go here.
Yeah.
So if you want to say fuck it. Okay.
Now I feel kind of bad about it. I'm not going to cuss anymore.
Well, see you guys.
And that's it.
And that's a wrap.
I don't even know where I was, dude. I just want to cuss now.
Yeah, I just want to cuss like so much right now, but I'm trying to hold it back. But so you and Eric started getting into psychobilly. You started, the Meteors, and Mantid, and all that good stuff.
My dad taught me how to play guitar when I was in the 2nd grade, probably.
Nice.
And so like I would, I picked up on it, and I just always played guitar with my friend that I was saying. And then when me and Eric started talking about playing music together, like we were talking about getting an upright bass, and I knew nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember going to see Lobo Negro play.
Oh,
and, dude.
Seeing Jeff.
And I was like, I said like 13, 14, whatever the fuck age I was. And I had just met James. And they snuck me into the Thunderbird. It used to be the Devil's Punch Bowl.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I remember like I like snuck in like carrying gear and stuff, and I like stood in a dark corner, and I met Jeff Alfredo, and he was the guy that fucking like blew my mind.
Right. I think a lot of guys saw Jeff and were like, this is what I want to do.
That was who I wanted to fucking play like. Just rhythmically, fucking everything that he does, like his tones, fucking.
Yep.
And the motherfucker kills it on electric bass too.
I know, he's so good.
So that night I met him, and I was talking to him about it, and he was super nice, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I play this setup, I play these strings and stuff." And I was like, "Fuck, okay, I want to do this shit." So we was looking for an upright bass, and we had the idea to go to TJ.
Yeah.
So
sounds about right around that time when everybody was getting into it.
Yeah. So my whole family went, dude. It was like a big family affair, dude. It's like,
we're going to TJ.
Yeah, we're getting firecrackers. We're gonna get a bass.
Yeah.
Medication.
Yep. You know what? Throw a kid in there. Why not?
Or just get the cheek from them.
Yeah.
And that's
true. Yeah.
But so we went down there, and we found this music store that sold to all like the local mariachis and stuff, and I think we were expecting to just pay like super cheap, just this little, random fucking thing to learn on. But it was like actually a decent music store. And I think we paid like $300 for it.
Cool.
And took that thing home, and it like felt like shit. I mean, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Never played one before, really. And but I knew that there was something off about this.
The action was like this far from the strings. You're like, my fingers are bleeding.
So I started putting my arm through it between the strings and the fretboard.
Oh, trust me, I remember those days picking up those first uprights.
So we brought it home, and Eric, dude, he was like super tedious about everything, and he was very like he figured shit out, like how to, and I remember him, like me and him kind of worked together on it and figured out action and stuff together, and we altered it in a bunch of ways, and it like I remember when I let Wasted James play it, he was like, fuck, like this actually feels really good, like it feels kind of like Necroman's bass, it was like perfect setup, but it was just like at the end of the day, it was like a shitty instrument, like as far as like like tones and stuff, but it was the perfect thing to learn on.
Okay, cool.
Set up and everything, and then
awesome.
So after that, like it was something that I had to play with, and then so me and Eric would just sit around and play. Like he would choose one of his friends that knew how to play drums, and we would just go to their house, fuck around, and then we started doing cover songs of like psychobilly bands, shit we were into, and then it turned into like, oh, we should try to like figure out how to write songs. And that happened, and just one thing led to another, and then we started recording and stuff. And
perfect. So Henchman, how did that come about? Do you know by any chance, or was that just the name that Eric had?
The name?
Yeah. Was that something you both came up with, or did he already have that name, or
no? It was
by any chance.
I don't know which one. I want to say it was him that thought of it, but I remember we were playing around with a bunch of ideas. I think, shit, I could be wrong, but I think one of them was even going to be like Speed Freaks or something. Like, but I was like, wait a minute,
we can't let everybody know. Like,
no. But Eric was a gearhead, so I was like, we're gonna have to explain this to everybody.
Yeah, that would have been rough. Yeah, definitely. Like everybody.
And I could also be wrong about that name, but I think I remember us talking about it. But shit, cool. Dude, I was like I said,
that's
13 or 14.
That's awesome.
But so we just started fucking playing and created that band, and
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I know you guys started. You were having a good run, and then you ended up hitting the road for a while with a couple bands too, right? I remember you took off, and you were out for a while, man. You did some cool stuff, man. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story how that started, like our first tour and stuff, and how I like got to meet the bands that I was able to tour with and stuff. It actually started not with music; it was graphic design.
Oh, awesome!
Like when I 7th grade, I think I got my first computer, and I got Photoshop, and I just became obsessed with it. And started figuring out graphic design, and then I got into like web design, and I became obsessed with that, and I would just like, there's a thing you can do if you're tech savvy or whatever the term is. You could basically view how a page is made in codes on any website by clicking something. This is years ago, so I barely remember how to do it now, but it would show you the entire website that you're looking at or that page all in code. And I would just sit there, study all those codes, and figure out what did what, alter something, like save the website or the page to my computer, alter it until it turned into like something that I got the hang of, and I could adjust things and move stuff around. And then I just kind of open up the floodgates with that stuff. And that was what I wanted to do, was be a web designer. So at that time, Tiger Army was like the big guys from the States, whatever. And I was a huge fan, and they had announced that they were releasing a new website or launching a new website. And I was so excited about it, because it was like, one of my favorite bands. And then I wanted to, I was just, favorite bands and the new website. And I was just like just pumped about it. And then I remember they launched it, and I was like, shit, well, I would have done some of this shit differently. I just started judging the website. And I was just like, and I don't know who the fuck I thought I was, dude. This little fucking 13, 14-year-old. I wrote the web designer. I was like, hey, man.
That is awesome.
Just a fan here.
I love it. I was like, just a fan here, but
on this page, you did this. I would have done this. Also this, doesn't make sense. You could have done this, like whatever the fuck those details were. So I fucking like wrote together a notepad like of the shit that I would have done differently. Like a few days later, he writes back and he was like, "Hey,
excuse me."
He was like, thanks for writing me. You know, I appreciate it." He was like, "Go check out the website." Like, and so he adjusted everything that I said. Yeah. And
that's the man right there. So you better watch your website because he's watching.
No, I'm retired. MySpace fucked my shit up. But so he did that, and then we just kept in contact, and he was like running with the same group that, you know, Tiger Army Necromantics were all kind of involved with, you know, the zombies and everybody. And so we just became like friends, but just online, and we would just talk about stuff. And then he got a new job or something like that, and he was getting super busy, and he was just like, "Hey man, like, you know, I was wondering if you'd be interested in helping me out with a few things." And I was like, "Sure." Like, I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Well, Horror Pops needs some, you know, I need to do some stuff on the Horror Pops website, and Necromantics might need some stuff, and also on Tiger Army stuff." And I was just like, "Are you kidding, dude? These are like my favorite bands." Like,
that goes
little like
awesome.
So that's what happened. He, like, you know, I helped him out and do some things, and then I remember I was like, I didn't want anything in return. Like, I didn't want to get paid, just none of that. I just wanted that opportunity because I wanted to be a web designer. I was like, this is it. Like, my name will get out there and stuff. And then so they would, the funny story, quick story with that. They put me on the guest list for a lot of their shows, and I had like yet to meet these people. I was just a fan. They'd put me on the guest list, and so the dude told me, he was like, "Hey, you're on the guest list for, you know, Hootenanny," and I was like, "Oh, awesome!" So I got to go to that, and then there was a Punks versus Psychos at House of Blues Anaheim. They put me on the guest list for that, and they were like, "Go to the merch booth and you know, grab some shit. You know, it's on us, you know, for all the help and stuff." And then so I go in, and this is the time where fucking merch was a huge deal. Like,
yes.
So the line was I don't know if you remember the patio for the House of Blues in Anaheim.
Yes, I definitely
The line was like the entire length of it. Wow. And I was, because it was a crazy lineup. So I was like, fuck, man. Like, you know, I went inside and I caught a couple bands. I think I saw Tiger Army in the Business or something like that. And I was like, fuck, like I gotta go get the stuff. So I'm just gonna go in line. I fucking waited in line like an idiot for the rest of the show. Oh, just watching the bands on the TV, like, fuck, dude. Dang. Lars Fredriksson and the Bastards, dude. That was like who I really wanted to see that night. Like, I was, man. So I fucking wait the entire time, and by the time I get up there, Lars, he was the headliner on that tour, finishes, and I was like, "Hey, I'm Jimmy Jam." They were like, "Oh yeah. Here, whatever you want." And he was like, "Did you wait in line?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Why?"
Oh man,
you're supposed to just come up here.
You know what? I would have done the same though.
Yeah, I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, like, I hate being that guy too.
Yeah,
like, yeah. But they know
you know. Yeah. So that, you know, that's how I kind of got involved. Like, I doing all the web stuff, and then Necromantics needed a new website, and then that dude that that was their web designer. Like, he was getting super busy with his new job. He was doing a lot of traveling and stuff. He was like, "Hey, like, these guys need a new website. If you want, you know, if you're up for it, you know, you could work on it." And so I did the website, and then in return, like, you know, I had met Kim, you know, at a show, and James, who was quickly their drummer, and like, you know, one of like the earlier tours. Yeah. He introduced me to Kim because they were friends, and they so yeah, did the website, and he was like, you know, I want to take your band on tour. So like, that's and rad. I was fucking, like I said, 15. First tour with my fucking one of my favorite bands, you know, at the time, and so yeah, that's how it kind of happened, and it's just like one of those things where, like, you know, you meet somebody through somebody, and
networking, man,
and it was just like any like tour that I did, anything that I did, it was like you met that one person, and it was just like
perfect timing,
your friends, and then time. I eventually, you know, so I did that tour, and then I ended up starting to work for them because we did a European tour, and I helped out. Henchman did a European tour with who was it? It was Stonecutters.
Yeah, you guys.
And Resurrex.
Was that the Stomp, the The one
we did Satanic Stomp.
Satanic Stomp. Yeah. That's when you guys did that, right?
Yeah. And so one of those shows, we did a club. We played a club show with Necromantics in London, and they didn't have like a stagehand to help out, and I was like, I just spent a tour with them. Like I know what the stage guy does, so I was helping out. Like if I saw shit on stage, and then after that, they're like, hey, you want to work for us on the next tour? And I was like, fuck yeah! So I ended up just touring with them. Did a good handful of tours with them, and then I started touring for Horror Pops, and
that's great.
I saw and met so many bands through those guys. Like,
wow.
I call it like
at such a young age.
Yeah,
dude. Such a great opportunity. It was at that age.
Reverend, Danzig, Dropkick, like all these like bands that I fucking grew up loving and stuff. But
that's great.
So that was cool. Yeah,
you've even done. You got a handful of bands under your wing as far as like logos and stuff too that you've done, right?
At least, I wouldn't say logos, but like shirt designs. Shirt designs, and stuff.
I should say. Yeah, sorry, not logos, but shirt designs. I mean, Gambler's Mark. A lot of our stuff. This guy right here, some of our best designs are Hell Ride shirt, one of the last ones that we had. Tons. The Upright Bass, QP, Devil Guy.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, we got some great ones from you. The Ship.
Yeah. And through that, that circuit of like people that I met, it was just like there was like one tour. This band, The Briggs, was main support on it, and then we became friends with them, and then they asked me to tour manage one of their U.S. Canada tours, and on that tour, Left Alone was main support, and that's how I had met Elvis previously through Horror Pops and Necromantics and stuff, but it wasn't till that Briggs tour that I did merch, and then I tour managed. It was kind of like a shared type of thing, but so I did that, and on that tour, I became friends with Left Alone, and at the end of that tour, their bass player decided he was going to leave the band because he lived in Hawaii, and it was just, a lot of stuff for him, and so they asked me, and that's how I got it.
What year was that? Do you remember?
2009.
2009. Dang. I don't know what year it is now, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, and doing, playing with music and just involved somehow. And then I always done art, and, it just kind of, I guess, like a word of mouth type of thing. And then I got asked to do random things like I did some stuff for Matt Freeman from Rancid, his other band, Devil's Brigade. Like he hit me up because I did a tour and stuff. But it was just random things that just kind of, different bands hit me up for.
It falls into place when you're just with the right people, man. I swear. That's great, man. That's great. And as far as bands that you've played with, I know you've had the opportunity to jump around a little bit. I mean, even with Gambler's Mark. I mean, I remember we took this guy on a tour one time, and we were sleeping in the van and taking off before shows and eating freaking remember those shrimp we like bigged out right before the show?
In Arkansas?
Yes. Oh, I think that was so much.
I think that was your first time trying the Cajun crawfish.
Yeah. I went back to the show, and I was like, all right. Got up there, and I think I farted the whole entire set.
In that set, I remember we played laying down.
Yeah. It was weird, but it worked out. The pit was, I don't remember. Actually, I was too full to remember that. But yeah, what other bands have you jumped on stage with, man?
I did some stuff with Moonlight Cruisers. If you guys are from
one of our favorites. From
Southern California, you know who they are if you're into the rockabilly scene. Fuck, man, that was the coolest opportunity.
Yeah, Al's a beast. He's
like
the best of the best. Like,
it's like hard to watch him sometimes.
Yeah,
like
sometimes I cry. He doesn't know. Like, I'll be watching him, and I'll feel a tear just like come out.
Yeah,
like,
easily.
He's that good,
and he is just like thinking about the stock market or something. Yeah. He's like not even there. And he's just
I love
shredding away.
So good.
But yeah.
So I played with Moonlight Cruisers, GM Gambler's Mark.
And then we after our first European tour, like I said, it was Resurrects, Stonecutters, and Henchmen. Resurrects went right back to Europe like a few months later, but Jeff Refredo was at the time he'd just joined Tiger Army. So he was like, he was doing Tiger Army stuff, and they were like, we need a bass player. So Daniel asked me, and so I went right back to Europe, but playing bass for Resurrects.
Yeah.
And dude, that was a crazy tour. It was
Oh,
one
I
of like
bet.
the craziest
Daniel's still
tours.
killing it over there. That's
It
definitely a
was-
home for him.
It was one of those like a package tour, like through I forget the record label. I think it was
Yeah.
Fiend Force or something like
Mhm.
that. But it was all like goth punk.
Yeah, I was
you know
gonna
what I mean?
say
Like
it was like a little bit on the
horror punk.
Yeah, horror punk. I remember that.
And
yeah.
So it was Resurrex as a headliner, and then there was Blitz Kid and this band The Other, and then Bloodsucking Zombies from Outer Space. Then there was like 2 go-go dancers on the tour and like 5 to 6 like crew, but it was fucking mayhem, dude. The entire tour. Like I to this day could never drink as much as I did on a single day of that tour.
Wow.
Which yeah.
That's rad.
But yeah, dude, it was wild and shit. That it was about a month.
Mhm.
And it was just like from beginning to end. And we would all like everybody on the tour would call it. It was like, this is the best tour and the worst tour I've ever been on.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
2 nightliners.
That's good.
2 nightliners and like nobody went to sleep the entire tour. Dude. Like
that.
It was wild.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. And then I know you also had the privilege of playing bass with Demented Argo, which is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Demented.
Yeah.
And you were young too, bro, and you got to rip it
Same
up when they
time,
came to LA, right?
Yeah, he was in town, and his girlfriend at the time, Emily, like I had met her because of like graphic design stuff, because she was like getting into web design, and we were talking about that, if I remember correctly, and we ended up using her on one of our early Henchmen like album art things. So became friends with her, and she at the time was with Sparky from Demented Argo, and he was in town by himself. You know, the band had already played a bunch. They went home, and he was like bored. He wanted to do something, so she linked us up, and then fucking
perfect.
She was like, "Hey, he's kind of bored. Would you be down to like do some music stuff?" And I was like, "What?"
Right? You're yes.
Yeah.
And who played guitar for that?
Eric.
He did.
It was
Eric?
it was all of Henchmen. Well, it wasn't all of Henchmen actually. It was me and Eric and Wasted James from Tiger Army. Like he played drums, and that motherfucker too, dude. He's another
he's
asshole.
a metronome.
Yeah, that
He's
and
like
he's the dude that like, hey, like we have a show. Like, would you be down to play drums? Yeah. When is it?
They're all yesterday. He's like, I got it.
And then like 0 practices, and he'll just show up and fucking slay.
I know. I've seen him do that too, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
How? But like we said, he like Lobo. Lobo's a freaking metronome too. But yeah, James too, man. He does not miss a beat. Even when he messes up, it sounds awesome. Like it's like, whoa, that was.
But that's
great.
the thing. He doesn't mess up.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Damn.
But yeah, he actually is the one that gave me the nickname Jimmy Jam.
Really?
Yeah, Wasted James. Yeah.
Nice. And how did that come about?
Because his name is James, my name was James, and it was one of those like we kept turning when people were saying it, and he was like, "You're Jimmy Jam."
Yeah, you're like, Jimmy Jam now. I'm Wasted.
Okay.
James. Yeah.
Little kid.
I'll take it. That's like Danny when Steve Whitehouse said his name was gonna be Exito, and then he's like, "Okay, that's it. My name's Exito." It's a lifer thing, you know.
Yeah.
Cool. So where do you see yourself with music, like in the future, bro? Like,
well,
I know you're rocking with Left Alone still.
Yeah,
and
that
you
is
keep busy. And any other projects you have in mind, or anything that you might be jumping into for next year or for the future to come?
As far as projects in mind, dude, there's always a bunch of ideas. Never happen.
Yep.
It's one of those things that you just talk about with a friend that plays this, friend that plays that.
Yep.
You obsess about it in your head, and you start to like create everything in your head, and one day you just stop thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I got this awesome industrial album that I've been trying to put out for 45 years.
Straight up, dude.
And it's coming soon, man. I know it.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, with Left Alone, like, I mean, it's, COVID really fucked a lot of shit up. Like, as far as like the music touring, we had an album that was like ready. We had a release date and everything. And, COVID happened, and it was just one of those like, shit, what should we do? Because is it gonna help us or hurt us that we release it in the middle of COVID? Like there's a lot of people at home, but when you release something, you should obviously tour it. You know what I mean? You know, merch sales, you know, the whole thing, you know, everything. And it just it was like a weird thing. And, so we took it easy, and, we decided like later on, you know, deeper into COVID, we were like, okay, let's release it. And it was fun, you know, like, it got out there, and that's the beautiful thing about the internet now. And you know, everything it gets reached super. It's instant.
Yeah,
you know,
2 seconds, and
Yeah.
you know. Mhm.
So we did that, and we waited for a while, and then when shit started to open up, and there were some events, we did like, I think I don't know if it was our first one back was Punk Rock Bowling.
Sweet.
And-
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, dude. And
I think you had got back. You said I remember you were so fucking nervous because it's been so
fucking
long
nervous, dude.
that you even had a stove that night. I believe you had retired for a while.
Stopped smoking for
you're like,
fucking years, and it felt like it was my first time playing music ever for some reason.
Wow.
Like there was just something about it. I don't know if it was just that, like, the trauma from being isolated in COVID for that long, you know, and it was just like, fuck, is this real? Is this everything back? Like, we're all outside, there's a festival, we're about to play, but it just, like, everything kind of just fucking hit me, and I got super nervous, dude. I had, like, my stomach was turning, and
yeah, I know that.
I started smoking again.
And did it take like 1 or 2 songs to get in the groove, or did you feel nervous the whole time?
I was,
because I know there's been earlier on for me that I think I had a few where I was just like, I need to just hurry up and get through this set because I'm feeling weird, you know?
Yeah, it progressively got easier, but I would say I was still nervous at the last song.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it just felt so weird. Like I said, I'm sure it had everything to do with COVID. And being isolated. Yeah.
It was a great show for you guys, though. I seen the pictures, the video. It looked killer.
Yeah. So that was the first one back, and then we did a one-off. I think it was a Halloween show at the Glass House with, I forget who else was on it, but Voodoo Glow Skulls were definitely on it, and I forget. It was just, you know, a Halloween ska show, and that one I was like, all right. I was home. Cool. There was a lot of friends there. Like, it felt awesome, and you know, it was a great night. And then we did Punk in the Park. That was another one back. And
you guys recently too, you were just in Boston, right?
Yeah, we for the day before Halloween, All Hallows Eve.
Ooh.
We did a one-off with Big D and the kids table out there. So we flew in and then flew right back. Like, it was
fun.
Dude, it was awesome.
So fun.
It was so awesome. Cool. I got to eat all the shit that I wanted to eat, a lobster roll, clam chowder, fucking that was why I went.
Yeah. You're like, can
we have a show?
Go get
Where is it at?
Before we play. Yeah. Bring it on stage, please. Right? That's awesome. Well, you definitely had a killer run with music, bro. Like I said, I met you when you were like 14, and I've seen you go through all of it, and it's been awesome that we've both been riding this wave, you know?
Yeah.
But let's move on to the other wave, though, the tattoo wave.
Yeah, dude.
Which you kind of fell into without even, you know, really thinking that you were going to get into tattooing, right?
Yeah, it was something like that. The tattoo artist that taught me, he gave me my first tattoo. I was 15. At that time, it wasn't illegal. Like, I had made a deal with my mom. She was like, you can get a tattoo when you graduate. And because I graduated early, I was like, I got my diploma at the least. Yeah. So she was like, all right. Like, you know, I was at that time really responsible. So, so it was like, okay, you can have it.
You're perfect. I want my face done.
Yeah. So I got my first tattoo, and it was actually, to tie back into the music, it was a pinup playing a coffin bass.
Sweet.
Yeah. And so that was the first one. Dude, I felt so cool.
Yeah. Oh,
I would go visit my friends.
Definitely cool. Yeah. With a tattoo like that at 15, yes, you were cool, bro.
I'd go visit my friends at their high school, and
were you walking like
my sleeves needed to be rolled up that day?
Yeah. All your jackets had one arm missing?
No, just the whole.
Just the whole, yeah. Wow.
But so that was the artist that taught me, and like, you know, he tattooed actually Eric a lot and stuff, and so I got to know him, and he suggested that I learn, because he had noticed that I had been, you know, doing a lot of artwork, you know, whether it be graphic design, everything, graphic design or whatever it was, painting. So he brought up the idea to me, and
what did you think at first when he mentioned that? Was it like, yes, that sounds dope, or was it like, it was kind of scary, because it is a little scary.
It seemed cool. Like, I mean, he was fucking cool. You know, he's a tattoo artist like that. That's what he did for a living, is just tattoos. And so it seemed like cool, but I was also at that time just super busy with music. At that time it was right before I joined Left Alone.
Okay.
So that was like I want to say 2008 that I started dabbling with tattooing.
Wow.
But so he like kind of just presented the idea to me, and like it was a rough time financially. It was the fucking 2008 fucking crash, the whole thing.
Yep.
Like it was a pretty rough time for everybody. And so like there was that, could always use money and, away. And, but I just, like I said, I was busy. And so I didn't really take him up on the offer until about a year later.
Nice.
And it was a slow start, just like any trade.
Yeah.
And it was to this day, dude, because I practiced on all of my friends when I first started.
Yeah, same here.
So I stopped being their friend, so I don't have to see those tattoos.
Same here. My buddy Bobby, I am sorry for your leg, bro. I know it's still healing, dude, even though it's been like 12 years, 13 years, whatever. But I'm sorry. I'll fix it one day. We'll get it lasered off.
Yeah. So, yeah, on that, I'd like to thank Joey Carroll, Christian Sandoval.
Yeah.
All these list of people that
I know.
fucked up.
Yep. They're going right through my head right now.
Yeah. But yeah, that was my thing. And if I remember correctly, I took a little bit of break from touring with like doing the roadie work because I wanted to. What did I want? Yeah, it was before I joined Left Alone. So yeah, it kind of all happened around the same time. So I took a break from doing the roadie stuff with Horror Pops and Necromantics and all that. My sister took over doing that stuff.
Right.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so she took off on the road with them, went all over the place, and then started figuring out tattooing and stuff. And then and I also the reason why I stopped roading is because I wanted to make a band for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I had already left Henchman in I think 2007 or something like that. So there was a couple years where I was just not in a band, not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so
in the blood, man, you always come back.
And I was dying, dude, like being on all these tours, seeing all these bands, like meeting all these bands that are like, either the opener or the main support. And I was just like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to go fold the shirts.
Yeah. You're all, I'm going to go fold the shirts. They're all, don't get tears on them. Yeah. Wow.
So that was the thing. Yeah. So I wanted to start my own project so I could start touring, and then tattooing happened at that time. So it was just like a little window.
Perfect.
And it was, like I said, a slow start. And I just, a lot of friends that I tattooed that like it took a while for a lot of them to agree to being, to get tattooed by me. Funny. Which is fair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. I already asked you 47,000 times.
Yeah. So it took like tattooing a few friends multiple times for the other friends to feel comfortable with it.
Yes.
And so that started picking up, and I was just, figuring it out. And it wasn't probably 2 or 3 years where I felt like, okay, I'm getting a grasp of this.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to see money and able to help out with shit now. Like I was still at home, like, anything I could help out with. And my fucking parents, dude, like, I was just this little shit, like, oh, I think I want a tattoo. And they were like, well, is it something serious, whatever? And it was just like, well, yeah. And they knew the artist that taught me, and they saw how well he was doing for himself. And it was just like, if this is what you want to do, we're going to back you 1,000%.
That's awesome. My dad just asked me yesterday, so when are you going to get a job? And I'm like, dang, I kind of do have a job.
And you said, Dad, I'm going to go to my room.
Yeah. I'm like, Dad. And yeah, that's what you're right. I can't even add to that. But that's great, man, that they supported you all the way.
They did. And it was like, I didn't really have much money. I had stopped touring, and, that was my source of income. And I remember, like, and I wasn't driving at the time because of the whole epilepsy thing. And I remember, like, they took me to pick up, like, the shit because the artist that taught me, he was like, this is, I had a crash course with him and everything. And he was just, I would still go to the shop and help scrub tubes and hang out with him as much as I could. Days. And so he put together a kit for me, so to speak. And I needed shit like paper towels, witch hazel, and I needed to go to supplies to get this. And
Valley.
Yeah. And my parents are like, all right, well, let's go get it. And they were like, this is something you want. Like, we're going to help you out with this. And
that's cool.
Dude, and it was just, like I said, a slow start, and then it just started to pick up, and then,
Sweet. Is that when you ended up in Whittier at
Just Deadly.
Just Deadly, right?
Yeah.
So your first shop was Just Deadly, right? The OG spot right there, huh?
Well, I mean, as far as that spot, I mean, that used to be Monkeys to Go.
Yeah,
back
Monkeys
in
to
the
Go,
day,
and then
and then Just Deadly took over, and
so that was your first shop.
that was
right
my
there?
first real shop.
Awesome.
Yeah, and yeah,
Yep.
dude, it was crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and I was so nervous. I remember like the first day, and it was just like, man,
Yeah.
I'm around all these new people that I don't
I
know. Never
know.
tattooed in front of anybody. Like,
Damn. So you were tattooing.
I
when
was
you
at
first started,
home,
You were
yeah.
just at home.
yeah.
Cool.
At
Cool.
home, and then so I interviewed, and I took my artwork, and one of my our coworker Art Gallardo,
Articus.
he actually was the guy that interviewed me with the owner.
No way.
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
he interviewed me.
We're gonna have Articus on here too. I already told him. So.
Art and his ponytail interviewed me.
What?
Yeah.
Art, you had a ponytail, bro. You just wait till I see you tomorrow.
Which
mister.
one is this?
Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Wait. Art, I can't wait to hear about this.
But yeah,
wow.
like,
So
yeah.
how was Art? I can't picture Art interviewing somebody. I don't know. How was he like?
Still
Very straight
1000%
face.
Art. You know,
Yeah.
he had his questions, you know, and he was interested, and they were all the right
Mhm.
right questions.
Mhm.
You know, like how in just about artwork and stuff, you know, like the art aspect. And I remember him saying, after I was hired, like months after, and he was like, you know why I chose you? And he was like, it's because you have a style. He was like, yeah, you know, you're new to tattooing and it's going to develop. He was like, but you have a style that I could identify. And that's what makes a difference. Like,
yes.
you know what, like I walk into a room, see a bunch of art on a wall. I know which one you did.
Yes.
Because that's important.
Definitely. I agree. Being on that topic, I don't know if you folks know, but Jimmy Jam here is the QP King. If you haven't got a QP tattoo from him, you're going to get one in the future. Let's talk a little bit about that, dude. How did that get started? I mean, I remember when you were doing it back then, but then it just like blew up, bro. And
Yeah,
like,
dude.
I mean, every time I meet people that know you, that's the first thing they're like, the QP guy. I'm like, yes, him. So yeah, I mean, how did that come about?
Fucking on its own, dude. Like 100%.
Really?
It was one of the. There was one that I did on one of my regulars that it was just like a little boxer, you know, a little boxing QP, and it was just like a standard traditional design. And I did that, and I was like, oh, those are kind of cool. And it wasn't until like maybe like 2 or 3 years later that I honestly can't even tell you what was the first one that I did. But somebody was like, hey, you think you could do one of these, but turn it into this character? And I was like, well, I'll try, you know. And so I did it, and I posted it, and then somebody like liked it, and they messaged me, and they were like, man, that's awesome. Like, you think you'd be able to do this character? And I was like, sure, why not? So so that happened, and then it was just like
took off.
Somebody else asked me for one, and so I started to like notice that it was like a thing. And
yes,
and mind you, I'm not the fucking. You said that I'm a QB king, but no, there's other people out there. Stacey Martin,
she's great.
The fucking
but
shit. Jen Matthews from Hawaii, like, dude, their QPs are
yes. Like everybody has their own style.
Exactly, yeah.
And yes,
and that was
like
one of
definitely. Everybody loves them.
That was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that I didn't do, because like I see a lot of other artists, like, you know, and no judgment, like, you know, tattooing is used, you know, use references here and there, but like I noticed like for some artists, like you could tell who they referenced for their like oh, definitely a Stacey Martin reference, you know, type of thing. And I was like, that was one of the things that I wanted to stay completely clear of. Didn't want to step on any toes, like none of that shit. Like I wanted to do it the right way.
Yeah, the Jimmy Jam way.
Develop my own style and stuff. So as I started picking up, like I just made sure that nothing I did was in any similarity to these other people that are already fucking holding it down. Yeah. So I was just like, it was a lot of trial and error and trying different things. Like if you like go back to the beginning, like and compare the faces or the revolution of them, it's I almost kind of embarrassed to look at the old ones.
No, they're so good. Even the first ones.
No,
great.
Not embarrassed. Yeah. It's just like, you know, they developed over time and stuff.
Yeah.
And so when I noticed them picking up, like I said, I wanted to develop my own style. So that's what I did. And I said, fuck it. I'm going to just start creating these things just to create them and whatever happens. So I I started doing Viva Las Vegas.
Mhm.
They started doing a tattoo room there. Over almost 10 years ago. I don't know. No, over 10
Yeah,
years.
I'm sure it's been a
It
long
was
time.
2013 was the first one that I did. So going there every year, like, and it was just like that's like the fucking cream of the crop as far as tattoo shows go. 4 days, like
nonstop.
15 artists, dude.
This last time I got a taste of it. This last time with the guys, I was like, whoa.
Noon to midnight, but you could still tattoo to 2 a.m. You know what I mean? If it takes that long, 4 days. So it's like and it's a perfect place to market something, especially like that, because the whole rockabilly scene, traditional tattoos, like they just belong together.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing like rockabilly cupies and stuff. So every year before Viva, I would just paint like a fleet of them, and it'd be like,
perfect.
I want to tattoo all these. And then there were people that like, they saw them and they just wanted the artwork. And I was just like, yeah, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well, like, Sally, that's money to be made. But like in my head, I was like, I'd rather tattoo it and make a little bit more money.
Fuck, I still want to get that Sparky one. That girl bought the Sparky. But I'm still gonna get it.
So yeah, I started painting them, and then like somebody was like, "Are you taking pictures of any of these?" And I was like, "No." So I fucking sold so many of them over the years, and I'll never see them again. I've never seen them online, nothing. Like I don't have them cataloged or anything like that. Like,
oh man!
But that comes with being late or procrastinating, and being lazy.
Well, I know you got the book coming in the future.
Yeah,
and that's gonna be amazing. But yeah, that's been so awesome.
That's that's how it picked up, and it's that's just great. Like now it's like almost every day I do them. Just about every day that I tattoo a Cupid. Like it's crazy, and it's like, and everybody always asks me like, "Aren't you tired of them?" And it's like maybe at one point I was just like, man, okay, like I want to do something like give me like a dagger and a skull or an eagle or something like that. But it became like I became so familiar with it, and I have like the formula that I have now has been my formula for probably the longest of me doing all of them.
Even the facial expressions on them, I mean, they're great.
So now, like I said, I have like the formula down, so it's just like so easy to do. Like,
sweet.
Like I mean, I like to have my designs ready before the day of the tattoo, so it's like go into the shop and it's like ready to go. But if there's one of those days where it's like, shit, I didn't get to draw it last night because I had to do this, running late to the shop, show up, clients there, and it's like, so you're gonna get this Cupid? Give me 5 minutes. And then it's just like, what do you think?
I've seen you do it. They're like, it's pretty amazing, folks. I've seen them do it. What would you say is the worst tattoo that you have to that you've done?
I don't know, dude. And it's funny, people ask that shit all the time, but it's usually the question is usually what's the craziest tattoo? So it took me all these years to like have one like, okay, if I ever get asked that, I know what it is.
Well, then let's roll with that.
Okay. Because now I'm nervous about the other question.
And then that person might be watching. They're gonna be like, he's talking about me.
That's true. Yeah, that was another thing I was worried about. The weirdest request that I got was, a Cupid, but it was Chuck Norris riding a unicorn, shooting guns right next to the dude's dick.
Oh.
Like, not like like touching or anything, but it was like, it was next to it.
What a
like in the pubic area, like, the side, like whatever. And I want to say that one is probably the craziest one. I mean, there's a lot of crazy ones out there. But
how many years you got in now, bro? Tattooing?
Shit, a couple months.
Yeah? You're really good for a couple months, I'm gonna tell you.
I'm trying to think. It was I want to say it's 14 years.
14 years.
Maybe it's gonna be 15 this
year.
But definitely 14.
Yeah. Wow. Time flies, man. I still remember hanging out at the shop when you were down there in Whittier too, going in there and shooting the shit with you guys, hanging out.
Yeah, which reminds me, when I was thinking about that, we need to finish this tattoo that you started.
So during that time, wasn't tattooing very long either.
Yeah.
And James was like, dude, do a tattoo on me. And I was so fucking nervous. And I just spit everywhere. I hope you guys didn't see that. And
he spit that day too.
Yeah. So. And I was so nervous. I was like, Jesus. I'm like, and then he wants it like on the top of his wrist here. I was like, okay, let's do it, dude. And so, for only thing he requests is that the letters are in red. That's it. So I was like, yeah, no problem, dude, no problem. So what do? The first letter, I go in with the black. But luckily, I stopped myself and I only made a black little dot. Is it still there? I think
it's still there. Yeah. I was looking at it right now.
Yeah. So it's still a little. Yeah.
It says "Let's Tour." It's a little.
It's a little
sparrow with a heart.
We got to get
the L. The top of it has a black dot.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to make sure that's what you still wanted. And yeah, I wanted to run out there. I was like sweating. It was bad, but well, we got through it. And actually, we still have to finish that to get a little color in there. So what's the future looking like for Jimmy Jam for next year, 2023? Anything lined up? Anything you plan on putting out? Maybe some traveling or maybe time for yourself? What do you feel is where's life gonna lead you next year?
What's set in stone right now, which is actually just announced like yesterday or something like that. Mm-hmm. My band Left Alone's opening up for a fucking awesome show. It's going to be the Interrupters and Hepcat.
Oh, killer!
At the Wiltern. I've never played the Wiltern before, so I'm super pumped about that.
Yes.
So that's going to be great. That's June 2nd, I believe.
That is great.
And then, I mean, hell, like if Viva's still doing the tattoo room, which it always is, you know, I mean, I'll be there. I wasn't able to make it this past year for family reasons, but
yes. I'll be there with you guys, man. I'll be there running around with you guys, making sure you guys are all set up there.
Have that one, and then we have you're gonna do that one with me too. The Arizona, the Grand Canyon State Convention.
yes. Oh, super excited for that.
Yeah,
that's rad. Awesome, man. Well,
but yeah, and just whatever the hell our shop's doing, you know, shout out to everybody.
Yeah, shout out to Dreamland, everybody at the shop.
Sinai Goonies.
Yep.
Dave, Art.
Yeah.
It's just, if you haven't been tattooed there, you should definitely come check it out. It's it actually happened during COVID, you know, like the idea of it. And we built it, and it's just this comfy little hidden gem just in Whittier. Like it's just, you know, it definitely feels like home when you walk in there.
You know, it's funny. I had just spent all this money like rebuilding my studio, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go all out, and everything was done. It's just finally got everything finished, new restroom. And then I saw you guys post that.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I sure miss these guys. And I always loved their company. I mean, I've known them forever. And I tell Alex, I'm like, I think I want to go work at the shop with them. And she's like, what?
Sleeping on your tattoo bed?
Pretty much. She's like, you just spent all that money. I'm like, yeah, you know, I think I want to do it. So I called Jimmy up, and then next thing you know, I'm in there, and you know what? Greatest decision ever. Yeah. Like, I'm so happy there. Like I said, solid crew.
Definitely something special. Like the chemistry, like the personalities, like everything is fucking
Goonies. I feel like I've known Goonies for 20 years, you know, and it's, very cool. Very cool.
And she's another one that I kind of knew forever from the music scene.
Yeah, I had seen her too. Actually, I definitely recognized her when I met her.
It's funny. I a while back, she was telling me, she was like, yeah, I remember the first time I saw you. It was during a Left Alone show at Chain Reaction.
Oh man.
It was the part of our set where Elvis plays songs by himself on the guitar. Like he does a couple solo songs, and that was the time where we get to take a break. The stage there is fucking weird. Like you can't just leave the stage. It's like, so what I did was I just, I was standing behind the bass amp, and then during his song, like I was just like bored, and I started like doing like dancing and like hand gestures to all of his lyrics. He was doing a cover song where it's like, I can't help falling down or something like that. So I would pretend I was falling down every time he sang.
God. That's
so awesome. He's playing the song, and all these people are just like looking at me dancing behind him.
My God. And he's like, oh, it's rocking. That's funny, man.
But I've known Goonies forever, and it was just through the music. And then it was like when she hit us up, she needed a place to work. It was like,
worked
out. Don't have space, but just come, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And then it just worked out where we have
definitely same thing with Art. When I went and we were there, I was like, God, it was like somebody was missing, and we knew who was missing, and he just happened to stumble our way, and he ended up there too. So it worked out good. It's
crazy that we've all known each other for that long.
Yes. Yeah.
Throughout the years, like
Yep.
it was what, I don't know how many years. So like I
Jeez,
said, almost
long.
whatever.
15,
but yeah, and then
close
like 'cause
15 years.
we were all together, and then we all split up one at
Yep.
a time. We all left, back together
Yep.
at a new shop.
Yep.
Leave again,
Again.
and then it's like boom,
boom.
Yeah.
Third time's a charm, man.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, Jimmy, you're my boy. Thank you so much
you,
for
man.
doing this with me on my first episode of the Cross My Path podcast. That was a great interview. Thank you
Yeah,
for
dude.
all the awesome information. I hope everybody out
Thank
there
you.
follows this guy. Make sure you follow him at
I am Jimmy Jam. On
Yes.
Instagram.
yes.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, me either. But
but let's do this.
Facebook. You do the Facebook?
No, I
No,
actually
me either. I'm not the Facebook too
I
much.
I deleted the app from my phone months
Me
ago,
too.
like maybe almost a year ago, and it was
Yeah.
just like I'd only go on when there was this like when you get like the random followers where it's like private and it just seems
Uh-huh.
like super shady and it's like who
Yeah.
the fuck is that? Let's see if they're on Facebook. So I would only
Yeah.
go to see who it is,
Oh, okay.
but I stopped caring about that shit. So I
Yeah.
just
Same here.
stopped going on Facebook. So Instagram is pretty much
Yeah.
how it goes. And to book with me, it's all of my information is on there. I post regularly for the most part.
Mhm. Yeah,
Sometimes I fall
pretty
off
good.
and I don't post at all.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, it's usually every month my books will open for the following month, and you could send an email, and I have an assistant that handles my books, and you get a questionnaire, and it's pretty
Sweet.
simple process. And,
Yeah.
we'll get you in and stuff. But
So there you go,
Yeah.
folks. When you're ready to get tattooed by Jimmy Jam, hit him up. But now I putting Jimmy on the spot here always, but I asked him if we could jam out a little bit. I haven't picked up my guitar in a really long time, so I'm kind of scared of myself. So we're gonna pull a Gambler's Mark song out of our butts, and we're gonna see if we could somehow get through it. And if we don't, then oh wow, it's rock and roll, baby, right?
no. I don't know about that.
Here
Dave.
you
That's
go,
not what rock
fellas.
and roll is. I haven't played
Yeah.
upright in 5 years.
You know what? You're in
we'll-
luck, buddy.
We'll see what happens.
We got a regular bass for you because I think the upright broke or something. I don't know. Or I went to get something to eat because you know those things are huge. They drive
Yeah,
and
those
everything
things are
else.
insane, dude.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys on the next podcast. Thank you for tuning in, guys. My name is Dave Gambler. Have a lovely evening. What's up, guys? Welcome back. So we're here and I came out of retirement from playing guitar, and I'm going to see if I can still play this freaking thing. So this one's called The First Cabin. It's off the first Gambler's Mark album, Last Chance Saloon. And here we go. Oh,
That was really good.
that was really good, huh? Well, I get to the bar and I'm thinking what I'm gonna drink. I rush to the front so I could get a seat. As I wait for the priest of love, well, Johnny Walker, Black Label on the rocks, make it a double up scotch and whiskey tonight. Well, as I'm hanging out the pavement and the baby comes up to me, baby, 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 please. Says, what you got there, honey? What you got to drink? Take a little swig and you will see Johnny Walker, Black Label on the rocks, make it a double up scotch and whiskey tonight. Let's get real rockin', Jimmy. Whoa! Well, as I'm hanging out the cabin and Poppy's on the hound, Christy's on the floor and let me tell you it is hell. They're now way bound to Beverly. Well, Johnny Walker, Black Label on the rocks, making a double up scotch and whiskey tonight. Well, Johnny Walker, Black Label on the rocks, making a double up scotch and whiskey tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. Give it up for Mr. Jimmy Jam. Yeah.